Good morning, everybody. Decided to do a record session this morning just because feeling a little under the weather, have a little cold. I was up for a full live session, so here it goes. You know the drill. All right, so we're going to start out right at the top as usual. And what we're looking at now, actually, is something pretty interesting. We haven't seen stuff like this in quite some time, so I think we're going to see some additional volatility coming into the markets this week. The weekly candle did really nothing. You could see on the weekly chart. Actually, let's just blow it up and take our time here because there's some really nice setups on the equities coming up here. You can see on the weekly candle, weekly chart for ES that we had a test last week of the 50 average, the weekly chart. We were able to fight it off. But all we did really was just put a little doji in a Harami inside candle with a doji, right? And nothing strength. Where's the strength of the bounce? Something really ugly. And the last time we had a sell-off like this, look what happened the week after. Right? Or at least a green candle. Something going on here. This is pointing to further weakness here. This is just defense of the 50. That's what happened here. Which means the real origin, or at least the target here, based on the weekly chart, should be here, 2600. Which means that I know it's off a little bit, but this is like a little double top here, with the middle being over here. So it's not exactly straight, but that's what it's looking like over here. Fresh demand is all the way down here, and even that's not really fresh. The 2600 level, if you look on the weekly chart, the demand was formed over here. We hit it once, twice, 3 times, and then we end up making new highs, but not in the explosive way we've done before, right? Bopped out of this thing, look at the strength out of the move, right? And then when we hit it here, we only got up to here, created that lower high, and we ended up coming back, testing, and holding the bottom, so we were able to rally, but look at the strength in here. Oh, look, these big-ass green candles over here, and then we run out of room over here. We just topped out right around the 2950, whatever the number is up there, and boom, okay, big sell-off, a couple of red weeks in a row, and then a little Harami candle, which sort of tells me expect some more of this over here. I think that's probably our target on the outside. If we get a really big sell-off, 2600, I think maybe a little bit more like around 2650-ish or so on the dailies. So let's go take a look. Down, that's what we're looking at over here. Even though the trend is still up, right? We have made new highs and higher lows and higher highs, and this is a one move off the top. So from like a big-ass perspective, it's not a big deal. The level that we're looking at, for selling off further, it's not going to crash the market or any of that nonsense. It ain't going to do that, but it is going to sell off a little more, it looks like. So here's our daily chart, right? And we know this is the chopping that's been going on over here, making the higher highs and higher lows all the way to the high. Finally made the new high. We came back to the first level of demand on the daily, and then we put in this little lower high or double top, and then we started collapsing. Right? And we break through, and then we had this big-ass sell-off last week. We know about that. And then we had this big bounce back, which really should have been the continuation day. Right? It was nice. The following day, it started to give us a scare, right? Because we get that, and we blow it up a little there. And that was Wednesday. Right? Yeah, it's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. This is the day we, I think, traded together long over here. There was a little pullback, and then we get this beautiful dragonfly. And all we need after that is the continuation to the top. If we get through the highs over here on Thursday, we were off to the races. Gone. We'll wipe out this whole pullback. It'll be a little rally-based rally with a higher low. Great. Instead, we get the Morningstar candle reversal with the big-ass ERCs on either side of the dragonfly, which is a failed hammer, right? Over here, failed hammer, and then the continuation. Then Friday, it looks like the 200 moving average is really what was holding price up a little bit over here. You can see the blue line over there, daily 200 average. We were able to close underneath it over here after the bounce back, right? Because we had lost the 200 average back here, and then we held it over here, right? We closed underneath it over here, and then we big ass close above, like we're ready to go, right? And then boom, and we end up closing under. Not good. So this is now a flag over here. It's a bear flag. and we're looking at a breakdown coming over here because we're not even in any fresh demand. We're nowhere. So daily chart's telling us down. The measured move is the yellow line that you see on the chart over the little box that I've already printed out. It's the length of this red staff over here. And let's just move around a little on the chart and take a look at it, where it's going. So it's landing us in the next, or near the next demand zone. Okay, I want to just go over to the left a little bit and show you what we're looking at. Okay, what is demand zone? There's the demand zone. Okay, so this is the 2650 zone right over here. See that, 74 to 650, whatever. But then right underneath it, right around here, is a trend line. I'm going to show you where it's coming from. This is like the outside target. If we really collapse, 2600 down over here at this level on the daily chart. But there's, so somewhere in here is where we're going to end up probably bouncing for the next bounce. So that's the target on the downside. We have to find a way into the short. So let's go look at the trend line where it's coming from. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Okay, so those are like the February, March lows. See that? And that was way back in February. Then we back tested in April over here, made that higher low, right? And then we continued on. So we've got this, that's the trend line that we're looking at that's landing us over here. So it's going to be a bounce because that's where the last time was defended, right? Down over here. So this level, maybe get pierced a little bit. It's pretty strong demand. You can see it, the nice tight doji in there. And then the touch on the outside and the explosive move away. It's right around 2650. So, somewhere right around here, we should get some kind of pause or a hold or one day chop type of thing. And then maybe we drop into this 2600, depending on what happens after that. But I'm fairly certain that a 2650 handle is going to get printed this week. So we're looking at, 100 approximately down on the on the ES. Okay. Let's go take a look at some of the other time frames on the way down and see what else is in our way. Here's our 240 chart, and this is showing something really interesting, and I think that's going to keep us on the right side of the trade. So first the 240, right? There's the big sell-off, and then the bounce. That was that recovery day over here, right? This was the recovery day, this thing over here, and then this is like that dragonfly day, and then the sell-off, and then the lower high again. So this is, first of all, starting to look like a head and shoulders. You don't see it yet. You do now because I just said it, right? There it is. And the other problem here, okay, is that if you look at the 50 average over here, the green line, this one, look, we have not closed the candle. This was the wall. This thing over here, take a look. A couple of days worth of testing this 50 average and then creating the lower highs. So as long as we stay underneath this 50 average, we're going to hit 2650. And that's this trend line that you can see actually over here. Above that is air. That's going to be the breakout back to the upside if we're able to recover that. So that's going to be our our little fortune teller. Okay, as long as we're under the 2650 and the 50 moving average on the 240 chart, big shorts all the way down into 2650. Then we'll decide what happens when we get there. If we start breaking out over here and get above the 50 average, forget about what I'm saying. We're probably going to retrace all the way here. So that's it. This chart is what's telling us where to expect the price to go. Okay, stay under the 50. We're good on the shorts. Okay, that's what we're looking for over here. Right now, that's the way we're leaning because the charts are screaming at us at that ugly close on Friday. We had a couple of opportunities to bounce and it just couldn't get there. So that's telling us look lower. Okay, look lower. And there's the ES, right? We come back into the demand zone. Over here, I think we were trading this thing on Wednesday, and then hit this, and then a smaller bounce, another lower high, right? See the down, and then we're back to the level again. So this level is popping. What the hell is underneath us? A bunch of shit. That's what's underneath us. Nothing. Garbage. Okay. So we're looking at a push down at least 2,700, maybe a little pop from there, and then a rollover again, and we're looking down. Okay. This is not looking good at all. unless you're short, of course, right? And it's looking great. Let's zoom down a little bit. There's the 2700. It's been touched on the outside right over here with the last push down that happened last week. You know, a big ass sell off. I'm going back there to test those lows, guaranteed. Looks to me like we're going to probably break them. And being that, you know, we should expect a bounce over here, you got to expect that they're going to get, you know, maybe underneath here into the demand zone that we got. And then we try to back test a little bit, you know, test the breakout area, because a big ass breakout could happen over here, right? Fight out of 27, whatever this is, 50-ish. Being that we've chopped around there for so long, we should have one more supply zone being created over here, and then we'll get back tested on the break of when we get down to 2700. That'll be a shorting opportunity again, aiming for 2650. So that's what we're looking at for now. Again, as long as this is all valid, as long as we stay under the 50 average on the 240 chart, that's the way to go. Should we break out the top, even if we still have this supply zone sitting up here, okay, keep that in mind. Excuse me. Okay, that's what we're looking at for ES. Let's go take a look at the NQ. Actually, before we go to the NQ, I want to point out the potential short entries that are coming in on the ES. 15 level over here. Just waiting for it to break a little more, but something I would probably try at this point because of what the higher time frames are telling us. If we get, you know, some volatility into the 82, 89, if you want to be a little more stingy, it looks like on the 5, this is exactly the spot that you're. 92.50 is where the, you know, where you're wrong for the short. That's you know, one of these plots. So they're sort of overlapping a little bit, but that's the level we're looking for a short entry into the ES. Let's move over to the NQ now. So again, looking at the higher time frame charts, we see, you know, from the weekly perspective, first of all, the monthly candle is looking horrible, but obviously we still have a week and change to go, so we'll see about that. But actually, no, this is actually the last week of the month. So unless we get a massive recovery this week, this is going to look like crap over here. Still, obviously, an uptrend, as is the weekly, no question about that. We had a little, you know, double top type action that we're selling off, but the trend is still up. We've hit the first level of demand on the weekly chart back here that we've had marked off, and we bounced. There's the 50 average on the weekly that's being defended so far. But again, Harami candle, inverted hammer, pointing for more weakness. Okay, when we look at the chart, where's the next level of demand that has an opportunity to do anything over here? So, let's see. All right, so this level, let's assume pops. This is all a bunch of chop, chop, chop. The demand is actually back here. It's been hit once, and then again from the outside over here. So you're looking about somewhere between 63 and 61.50, right? Somewhere in that range, which is a huge, huge drop over here from where we are. It's a 700 down for NQ. I don't know if it's going to go that far. It looks like the daily has something a little before that. It's coming in around, I think, like 6,500 or something like that, if I remember. Let's go take a look. Yeah. I think that, you know, the measured move, you can see I've already plotted it for you there. Again, breakout out of this thing over here would give us, again, the staff in, and the extension puts us right into this really demand down here at 6,500. It looks to be like the level between 64 and 65. Again, you can see the 200 moving average over here being defended on the daily chart over here for NQ. But these levels over here, first of all, let's just go through and why they're going to get clocked, because this one has already been hit once, twice. This is the second touch in the lower high. So we come back to that zone. The rules tell us buy zone. The other one is decent. I think it's 6,800. We're actually going to get like a pause, maybe a little push back into this zone to back test. Something's going to happen at 6,800, maybe a day of a little break. And then under that, there's just air all the way down. So I think we, you know, this is the low target for the week with a pause somewhere along the way, potentially around 6,800. So we're at 71 and change. You know, breaking through this zone and hitting this demand zone, you know, Monday, Tuesday, I'll have to see. Back test into the breakout area, and then, you know, this test is what I think we're going to see. So it's going to look something like this, you know, drop into here, base, drop, back test, boom. Okay, so we're looking for over here. Let's take a look at the 240 chart. So you can see that this one actually is a little bit stronger than the ESS. You know, we recaptured the 240, the 50 moving average on the 240 for quite some time. Finally breaking down again, and again you can see the head and shoulders formation is starting to form over here, right? The neckline is this demand zone, which should break, and then opens up the test of the low. This low, like I already showed you on the daily chart, is not going to hold, and then we start collapsing down. Okay, and I think over here that 6,800 obviously is a big fat round number. That makes sense. We have a demand zone there. It should be something like some kind of pause over there, maybe a back test to the breakout. I don't know yet, but something's going to happen over there, and then we're going to get the next low down. I think, we're going to look at somewhere around this 64, 65 level down here someplace. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for this level down here. Let's mark it off. This thing. Somewhere over here is where price is going to stop. Okay, so this level that you see right here is just this. It has lower highs already. That's not holding. This is the prior low that I discussed already. That's the 6,800 level that I think we're going to get a little pause. It's a fresh demand zone. I showed you on the daily chart. Eventually back testing, probably back to 69, and then bang. That's what we're looking for. Okay, cool. That should take care of our little equity analysis, in case you didn't notice I'm quite bearish about this. And if you have any specific questions about a specific zone or whatever, you can just send me an email. There's the NASDAQ on the 60. There's the reversal on Friday. Again, with the Morningstar candle up there, doji between the ERCs breaks down. So this level of demand hasn't broken down that we landed in, but it is going to break down. There's no question about that. This one over here will give somewhat of a little pause, but notice that when we created it, it didn't really break the prior highs. Right? This is the creation of the zone over here. Gets hit over here. Finally takes out these highs, but never gets anywhere near this thing. And then collapses. That's going to break. There's a bunch of air. That's already the lows. That's the same level I keep telling you on the daily chart. That created a lower high. It's going to break. And then boom, 1,600 is the fresh level, XYZ, and so on and so on. So that's the thing. All we need to know now is where to get the hell into the short. And there's a spot over here that I'm looking at on the 15. Here. So this is the zone I'd like to see hit. If we break straight through the bottom before we get back here into the zone I just circled, then I'm going to take this one. All right, so that's what we're looking for over here. Short into NQ, riding down potentially all the way to 6,500 this coming week. Closing out the month with a big ass red candle on the weekly, monthly charts. Cool. All right, let's move on to crude. All right, so crude's got another big-ass red candle on the weekly chart. One move off the high still, so trend hasn't been affected just yet. We're coming into some demand over here. You can see that. We're in some daily demand, and a little bit more slightly underneath us, around 66, 67. That's where the 200 average is sitting. You can see the 50 average has been pierced, closed under. But on Friday, we get a Harami candle. Okay. As we go through the lower time frames, you'll start to see that it looks like the bounce is coming from here. There should be a back test to this base drop over here before we break down. It's not absolutely necessary, but it looks like it's happening. If you look over here, it starts to look like we're building a little V-bottom reversal. Here's the supply zone. We hit it. We sell off. We're starting to make the higher low over here, and then there's air up here. We should be able to pop back, test the supply zone someplace over here, and then roll over, and then hit this 67 number over here on the daily chart, which I think we're going to see. It's an early strength, I think, this week for crude, bouncing back over these very strong oversold conditions that we've had. A bunch of $2 plus days, over the last week and a half or so. Big moves percentage-wise. and you know, time for the bounce to come. You know, crude can be brutal when it wants to do that and stop out all the shorts. If you're a crude trader, you know what I'm talking about, and that's what I think we're going to see. So let's take a look over here. Counter trend move coming for crude up into the supply. That's what we're looking for, right? And you can see that the V bottom is forming. It's starting to form. This demand under here is holding. It's been hit a couple of times. We start to pop up. We hit the supply. We start pulling back. We're starting to look like we close on Friday over here. So we need a continuation to the upside, but this could become the higher low. Right over here with this engulfing failed hammer. See it right over here? Okay. Showing us that there's some strength over here. We back test into it late in the day, and we sort of green out. But if we start doing this, forget about it. This level pops. We've got air. The next short would be here. If you want to be long in through this thing, you're trading the V bottom. You know, it's a counter trend trade, but it's allowed. Okay, so in this kind of scenario, it's $1.50 almost to the upside, up into the supply zone over here. And this is a shortable supply zone, absolutely. This V bottom is not going to change too much, anything other than the trend until we get back to the breakout over here. You know, and we're looking at, oh, that's my 50 average over here. Must have deleted it. Let's put it back on the chart. Oh. That's not a 50. Green inputs. There we go. Okay. There we go. That looks more like it. Ah. Okay. By the way, I didn't know that that's where it was. Okay, so look at that. You can see that this is where it's holding, right at the flip area of where it started to create the higher low, and that's just too funny. Okay, fix the color there. Okay. So yeah, that's where we're heading. It looks like a push up into the 7157 area, and that should be enough to get us back. Should for some reason we pop this level, I would be looking to short up here, this fresh supply zone over here. Okay, but I don't really think we're getting through here. We'll see what happens as we get up there. So I don't mind being long on the V bottom rules, you know, into 71, let's call it 50. Okay, and then we're going to start looking short again. Let's take a look at our 15. Yes, I mean, perfection there. It's making the higher lows and higher highs already. You could see that little double bottom. And there's the higher low, a bunch of higher lows. There's the doji. That was that failed hammer, probably. This one over here, bang, bang, and then we start to do this little reversal over. So this needs to hold. That needs to hold, and once it does, we're ready to go. So I would say if we're looking for, you know, a little entry into this long side, I would say it's probably right over here. See this little doji candle? When we pop up into the supply that's above us, let me get the supply. There it is. Okay. We're going to hit this sucker over here. All right. I'm going to push up into that. We'll get a pushback. I would look right here. This pretty little doji right there. Assuming there's nothing else created along the way. If there is, I'll tweet it out, you know, on Monday or whatever. But that's where I'd be looking. Okay. Keep your eye on that, whatever that is, 69.30 something or other. Right? Doji is. Looks like measures 39 to 33, 33 to 40, somewhere right around there. It's going to be underneath this little basing area. That's a nice little trap. Beautiful. That's the spot I'd be looking at. We'll see what happens as we rally on Monday. But up into this supply, pull back, and then a pop up to 71, you know, 50 or so. It looks like over here slightly a little bit higher, maybe 71, 70 or so on this 15 chart, somewhere up here. And that's it. We're going to get short up there for the ride down into 68. Maybe it was 66 even. What was the level on the daily chart? Let's go look again. The level on the daily chart. Yeah, 67.50 into 66.80 something. Oh, that's what we're looking for. Okay? Cool. Two sides of the trade for crude. Long on the V reversal and then short up there in the supply. Let's go look at gold. Okay, where's my mouse? Before we get to gold, actually, let's take a look at the dollar. So, last week we called for the pullback on dollar into demand, which it definitely did. And then it was looking for this actually to break. Didn't expect the double top, which is what we ended up getting, but okay, it's a double top. Nothing we can do about that. The demand holds, and then the supply holds again. And with the twins on Friday, that's sort of telling us, it's over. It was a doji candle on the weekly chart. You could see the 200 moving average is holding price back up here, and looking like it's going to pull back down again. And this time with the double top rules, we know the middle should break and go back to the origin of the move, which brings us down to 94. So that's what we're looking for this week. You can see it's starting right over here. The demand has been hit. We created the hammer, and the failed hammer is starting right over here. So, this target somewhere down under here at 94, which is the origin of the double top. Okay, right over here. That's what we're looking for. So the dollar is looking like it's going to pull back again. All right, and then we'll see how that plays out for us across the rest of the currencies and the metals and stuff like that. Okay, so we're looking at gold, and you can see down over here on the weekly chart, we're getting another green candle, right, and continuation of the rally that started a couple of weeks ago for gold, right? And right now, we're seeing this push up, right? You can see that the 200 average on the weekly chart actually got tagged. We haven't touched that thing since we broke under it over here back in July. And it's been some time since we've rallied up pretty nicely. And it looks like there's still room up here on the higher time frames. Okay. And looking like we still have some room over here. Target around 2667, it looks like. That's what we're looking for. On the daily chart, we've got a pretty strong bull flag holding over here. After the big breakout out of the range that we were in for a while, we held price all week, and that is an absolute bull flag, no question what this thing is. Okay, the measured move is bringing us up again into something over here, coming out around 67. That's what it looks like. So this level over here around 1250. Looks like it's going to get popped. We're sort of basing right underneath it. It's a psychological number, so we may get a push up into it, and then maybe a back test and a breakout, and then the move. And that's my preferred track up into that next supply zone, only because it'll give us a better entry. Well, otherwise, right now, unless you're already in it, the only thing you can do is take the breakout. Otherwise, you have to wait for a pullback after the breakout. So there isn't really a very clean entry into the long if you're not already in it. And there's one potential, which I'll show you in a second. And that's about it. Otherwise, you're waiting for the breakout. Here's the 240. You can see the flag, see the first level of demand, and then we're just flagging over here. Bang, 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 bang. Supply is holding. Demand is holding. And the breakout puts us right up into supply zone up on our 60 chart. Bang, look at that, right up there into the 67 area. So we're looking at what's called 65 or so as a target, and these are the 1250 levels that may cause this little pullback or pause or something to get into the trade. But when gold wants to go, it goes. Let's look at this thing that happened last week, right? It looks like we're getting one more of those, and it might not stop there at those levels up there. So, especially if it's been basing for quite some time, which it has this past week or so. So it's very possible that we don't get the pause or breakout. So the only thing left that's here, notice on the 50 average on the 60 chart for the last couple of days has been holding price up, right over here. And, we've got these, little supply zone, and over here we're starting to make the higher highs a little bit. So, it's not the greatest of entries right here. We did make a most recent high off of the supply. We cleaned it out. We came back. So, you know, if it should peak under here, as long as it holds this low of 1226, you might want to try the long over here. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for a breakout and a pullback, which is okay too. But for now, it's on the chart. The only potential entry is actually this thing over here. If it continues to channel down a little bit on the little time frame into here, and then shows you some kind of hold pattern on the small time frames, you might want to try an entry over there. Again, the target now we're talking about is at 60 something. So we're talking about a huge move up, $30 plus for gold this week. Okay, nice breakout, and that fits. If the markets are going to start selling off, gold's going to pick up and break out to the upside. And last sell-off, it took an extra day for gold to react to the sell-off of the market, but it did come, and it will come again. Maybe even faster this time, the same day as the market starts collapsing. So just keep that in mind. It looks like for me, the target I would say is around 1265 for gold this week. Okay, let's go take a look at the euro. Okay, so the euro over here is showing us, you know, doji candle on the weekly chart after the base rally on the weekly pullback and just pausing over here, looking like it's trying to build a higher low for us again. Right? After the base rally, this was the first sell-off, and actually that would create the first higher low. Right? This is one move up, sell-off. This will create a higher low at the pivot if it comes. And I think that's what we're starting to see. If we look on the daily, so again, like the dollar had the double top, the euro's got this double bottom, and then it gives a beautiful engulfing candle up Friday, showing that it wants to hold this 1500 level over here, with the middle being over here, and then the origin, holy shit, all the way back here, 18 something. So it looks to me like we're going to see this pop coming over here up into the air for euro longs. It's sort of starting on the little time frames, and it's actually giving a decent entry into the long. So or sort of hope to a little bit of a pullback. So there's a little double bottom. Yeah, it got slightly below, but the level of demand never broke down. It still holds. And we do a little V bottom, which I'll show you on the 60. And, you know, rule tell us pull back by the first higher low, and then we start taking off. That's what we want to do now. We closed sort of right at the top. There's a really nice demand zone under us on the 60 chart coming out like over here someplace. I'll show it to you. That's our entry into the long. Okay. And we want to get long, and the target is all the way up here. Okay. This level over here. We'll pause, you know, get little pauses along the way. This one has been chopped through a bunch. It never really broke the bottom. So any of this should, you know, never really broke the bottom anyway. So this should get popped. Should have a decent fight at the 17 and change. I think based on the daily chart, we're looking at an 1800 handle. I don't know if we're going to get all the way up there this week, but pretty sure we'll see this 17.5 bit coming over here. I think there's a major moves coming in the market across most of the different assets based on this. Charts are showing us that there's some action going to come this week. It's going to be a volatile week. It's going to be a lot of movement. So pick your trades accordingly. Here's the 60 chart. Okay, there's the V bottom. You can see it. Open it up for you. All right. Base drop into the bottom. We start the rally. Base, take out the supply zone over here. It's a base rally, one move up. Right. And this trend is still down because of that. But we get back to this little, we peaked slightly above here into this little base. Start pulling back. Excuse me. On the 60, you can see the doji that I've marked off as potential entry right over here. We push back, create the higher low here, come into that. On the 15, there's a level that's like over here that we might have to trade where it was, you know, right over here. 15.4 and change. There's a chance over there also. So I will be trading the first level over here, this one. It's a very pretty looking doji. And if it doesn't hold, then I'll go back into the next one. Right? So the first level is this thing. Goodness, pretty sucker. Right? Look at the other side. Look how it's a nice tight doji. Look how we pushed up. And then we put this ugly reversal candle. And then we got this big continuation to the downside, right, with the morning star candle, and immediately twins, showing a ton of strength over here. Right? So if we push back down into this sucker, that's the entry right here. If it breaks, that's the other entry. If that breaks, forget about the whole trade. They don't. But this is the spot right here for the longs. Okay. Let's see if we can tighten that up. That's 370 to 265. That's 105. It's about 20-something ticks for euro, which is not all that expensive considering that it's only $6 or something to tick. And if we wanted to tighten it up a little bit, so let's see if we can do that. Maybe let's see something over here around 15.4. I would say we're looking at something like this. That's the 265. That's the 320. This is probably the entry that we, yeah. So there you go. That one's only on 100, so that's 20 ticks. So if you wanted to be really stingy and you needed to, based on your risk, I'd say trade this doji right here. 320 to 265. Okay, that's the entry for the long, right there. Okay. Cool. Right. That's our euro analysis looking longs. After a pullback into this demand over here on the daily, on the 15 chart. Okay, and our target up, 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 way up. Breakout on the daily. So minimum, minimum if it really doesn't explode, we'll see the middle over here. I'm pretty sure we're getting through that. It will take only one candle to get there at this point, I think, and then we're up here. So somewhere around 17.5 is the target for the week. Cool. All right, let's go see what the Aussies got for us. The answer to what the Aussies got for us is simple: nothing. Okay, really ridiculous. You can see the extended downtrend over here. You can see the last sell-off and a little pausing over here, and just flagging over here. It looked like it was getting ready to explode to the upside over here with a failed hammer situation, but then it just got turned around again over here. So it's going absolutely nowhere. It's just chopping up and down on the 60 in between the supply and demand. And for me, that's like, don't even bother with the chart. Moving on to something else. I don't like this shit. If you're a range trader, that's the range. Have a good time. Buy and sell all day long. I personally don't like those kind of trades, but everybody's got their own flavor. I would probably tighten this up a little bit at this point. Demand under here, let's call it, because we peeked into this thing. Take the bodies out of the zone. And that's what you're looking at. Demand over here, supply over here. Have fun, knock yourself out. I'm moving on. Next. Let's take a look at pounds. Okay, so pounds for us on the weekly chart have been traveling sideways, right, for a bunch of weeks over here. We're looking at, a bunch of dojis with a rally base. I believe rally coming. That's what it looks like over here so far, at least. It looks like the pull back over here is starting to end. So as long as we hold this 13050, we're good. We're going to get the turnaround over here. The lower time frames, we're playing with this little double top action that went in over here. I think it's pretty much finished. It came back to fresh demand, started to get the pop. We got a long push up on Friday, and then an immediate pullback out of a smaller time frame supply zone, but a flag after that. Okay, which I'll show you. Just went sideways most of the day after that, and as long as we hold that flag over there, you can see it here in the 60, a bunch of dojis. There's a massive pop off the bottom. Right, we hit demand, which from back here, and then we push up. There's the confirmation of the bottom with the doji and then the higher high. So the 60 so far is holding its low, and we hit the supply zone, right? Big V bottom, and then we pull back and we flag. Okay, so there's a breakout above of the flag. There's no supply, at least until we get here, minimum. Or a pullback into demand underneath us would be valid as well. Support, trading, the V bottom situation over here. So it's in this little flag. There it is. Okay, you can see that. There's our 15 chart. Let's open it up. Okay, there's the supply that gets taken out. Let's zoom out a little bit and see where the target would be on the upside for a minute. So there's the flag that's flagging over here. You could take the breakout above there. There's nothing at all at minimum over here until we get here. So T1 comes off, no problem, right? And then we'll have to measure, in a minute we'll measure where T2 should go. Otherwise, a pull back into something over here. Right? We have the higher highs and higher lows over here. This is one push back down, and that would give you an opportunity into the long underneath you. As far as, targets to the upside, well, the 60 is not really in an uptrend just yet, right? So, we're getting the rally, base, rally, right? So our rules sort of tell us we can't really ride this too far until we actually get a higher low. So if, until we get a higher low on the, and then a higher high, obviously on the 60 to 60 is still on a downtrend. So I would say our target for now is probably right around over here, 1.3, 8 and change, somewhere if we can get it over here. So, it's not bad. 200 ticks, 180 ticks, something like that. And that's it for pounds really, until it flips its trend, in which case we can start talking about a bigger trade, right? But over here, on the daily chart, if this does, right, become a higher low, right, and we hold this thing, so we're in an uptrend over here currently. We pushed up, pushed down a little bit, and we sort of made a little bit of a lower high. Not really, honestly. This is flipped the small time frame, but not the daily. This is just dropping, so 2 candles, and then we come over here. We start building over here another higher low. So, you know, if I'm right, and we start rallying out of here into this thing, so really the target on the daily is up here, 134. So until we actually get the 60 to flip over, we can't aim that high. But if the 60 does turn this week, we can start thinking about, you know, something up here. Okay. So keep your eye on that if you're interested in trading pounds. In the meantime, we're going to go look at Canadian, which had some crazy moves this week. Okay, so Canadian does have a continuation on its sell-off on the weekly charts, right? You can see that over here. Engulfing candle. Takes out the highs, closes below the lows, very ugly. And a nice pushback sort of toward this, you know, trend breakout area. If you look back on the daily, that was this gap thing that we had sitting on our charts. That was our target on the way down. I kept saying we're going to hit the gap, hit the gap. Sure enough, there it is, right? So we rallied up into the first supply on the daily up there, and then we drop into the gap. Okay, so we make a pivot over here. This is a lower high, and then a lower low. In which case the daily trend is now down, okay? We rally back right into the first level of supply on the 240 chart, and then we break down. Okay? Downtrend going on over here. So we're looking at downtrends on Canadian, but also a very extended move down over the last couple of weeks, sort of like what I'm saying about crude. I think we're going to bounce out of this demand zone, the gap area, and hit some supply up there, and then roll over again. So I don't mind doing some V-bottom situation over here. It looks like it's already forming on the Canadian. Take a look on Friday. We had this big push up right into a supply zone, and then we drop out, and then we start to hit the bottom. And you can see it's starting to hold. There's supply over here, which we have to hit, and then pull back and make the higher low, and then we can start our V-bottom move. I think this is the target on the way up, 77, and that is absolutely a short. That is absolutely a short. So we can trade the longs in a little bit. I'll show you how in a minute, down at the bottom on the low time frame, up into that level, and then get the hell out of the long, actually reverse and go short. So there's the supply that has to get taken out. There's the air above us, right? We have to rally into this thing. So before we take any longs, this is what has to happen. We have to hit this supply zone. We have to pull back and then hold this demand zone. Okay? Of the dojis. Up here, pull here, we start holding this, you can buy long, aim for here, get out, and then when we get to 7,700, which is a little bit above this zone, it's a fresh supply zone up there, short it. That's the trades. Okay. Up here, let me zoom out a little bit for you. Okay, so the level's not clear on the 15, but it's very clear. It's this little 7,700 is over here. This thing, this doji candle right here, right? And that's the level I showed you on the 60. That's where it's at. So this level got hit. Boom, boom, boom. We come into here. We're going to fake everybody out by getting above this little zone, hit 7,700, and then the sell-off's coming. So we can get long again after we hit the supply zone, and we come back and hit this demand zone and hold it. Then we can try the long on our V-bottom rules. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Otherwise, there's nothing great over here. As far as the zone is concerned, where it is, I would say the demand that when we get down there, so we're looking at over here someplace. I would say these dojis right here. That's the level. Oops, it's the level over here. And again, demand on, I know it's red, but it's demand. 76,370 to 76,325. Okay. So not a big zone at all, but that's the level we're looking for into the longs after we've hit the supply and hold that demand zone. That's the level. Cool. All right, that's Canadian. Let's go look at the yen. Okay, so on the yen, we do get the little pullback out of the back test to the trend line that we mentioned, right? Last week, we tag the trend line, we get a little pullback. It's one move straight off the bottom on the daily. We're in a downtrend, and we get a little pushback, and we're coming back into demand. Actually, it looks like we might have touched. Let me fix that little doji candle. I wonder if we wrap this as doji over here. Just about there, right? And we bounce a little bit and flag out, and we're hanging out inside this demand zone currently right now. And, you know, is it going to hold or not? I believe yes, but, you know, until it does, I can't do anything about it. All right, so we're looking at this rally-based rally over here. We're sitting on top of it. You can see that. We've hit the supply already, and we didn't break the bottom. We didn't rally out of it yet either, but we didn't break the bottom. Is it going to hold? My opinion is yes, it is going to hold, but I can't do anything about it until it does, right? Once it does, then we can start talking about, you know, getting long and stuff like that. In fact, the reason I'm biased to the hold is because I'm pretty sure the market's going to sell off. And the yen usually goes in the opposite direction, right? So the yen should be rallying. In fact, coupled with the dollar getting weak and the market selling off, so that's sort of giving me a bias that, you know, the yen should rally us and this level should hold. It doesn't mean I can trade it. It has to start holding. It hasn't done that yet. So until the yen moves, I'm doing nothing. All right, you can see that we've hit the supply on the 60, and we're just chopping back and forth. We're not breaking the bottom. We're making lower lows and lower highs still, you know, until we maybe get back into here. Oops, let's move something over there. Okay, so that's the supplies over here. Smaller time frame stuff right here, and we're channeling down. It's not breaking down. You know, it's not breaking up either. It's just hanging out. Okay. So, not doing anything in yen. My bias is to the upside, but I'm not trading it. There's better trades than this, okay? So let's move on to something else. Next, let's take a look at what happened at nat gas this week. Okay, so natural gas over here for us has a nice looking week. Take a look at the weekly candle. All right, after we get the inverted hammer, looking like we're maybe getting a failed hammer over here, right? Depending on what happens this coming week, it's an inside candle over here. You know, a little double top, pulls back, but starts to rally. Okay? On a lower time frame, it just pulled back into the gap that I kept talking about during the week. That we ended up underneath us, and then the strong rally out, and we end up right in supply. So on the lower time frames, this is a higher low, and it's looking like it's going to rally out of the top. And I'm thinking longs at this point, at least back to the highs, or maybe even a little through this zone, especially now that the weather is starting to turn, get cold over here in New York. It's freezing today. So I think we're going to see some strength in the nat gas market here. Let's take a look over here on our 60 chart, what's going on. And this is the gap that we were discussing over here. It gets into the gap. I tightened it up a little bit because we were all the way in there. Immediately reverses out of that sucker, hits the first level of supply. This is a V bottom starting, so here's the pullback coming out. There's demand somewhere over here. We create a higher low. We're in inverted head and shoulders, boom, to the other side. So somewhere right over here, there should be a really nice looking demand zone. I drew it out of 15. I think it's a great looking zone. I want to see it come in there and give me a little bit of a signal for it's going to hold. And then I'm getting long nat gas right here. Take a look. There's our little V. Okay. Push straight up, boom, pull back. We got already one higher low and another higher high. There's some supply up above us. I understand that. I like this level right here. Okay, I'm going to clean up the chart a little so you can see what I'm looking at. Rally-based rally sitting right underneath here. Look at the other side. There it is. Boom. Little symmetry action. Give me a spot right at 3.2. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, baby. Love it. Love that. Okay. So we hold this thing. I'm in here. We're aiming for the top at least. Back to 334. Up here someplace. So a nice big, 150, 200 tick move for nat gas coming. If we can get it down into this thing, we should be able to at least, hit 33. And based on what we're seeing down here, I think even more than that. So I would say based on the higher time frame, back to the top test of this area up here. So there's the spot. That's the look. That's what we're looking for an entry. If we can get in there, I'm in. Okay. That's our nat gas chart. Let's go look at copper. All right, so copper coming back into this weekly supply zone that we've been banging on for now. It's the fifth week. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth week in a row, and just holding the lows. Sort of telling us it's peg, pop, 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 pop. That's going to break. right? You know, it's a bull flag on the daily chart. It's been going sideways up here for a while, but it's the flag. It's there. So it's been on the lower time frames. This is all sideways crap. But it looks like it's starting to potentially give us the entry that we're looking for. Okay, there's the V. We should see a pullback. There's the level. Look at the doji. That's the entry. Right over here, where the long should be sitting, right here. See that? Somewhere right in here is where the long should be. We push back, we make a higher low, and then bang, we break out of the top of this thing. So copper has potential to pop this week. On the 60, there's our V. Okay, nice little sell-off. It holds some demand back there. All right, I just drew this thing over here just now. There's a 15 level and it's actually two 15 levels we're going to look at in a second. But this is the V. Here it is, push back. We're looking for a pullback at a higher low. Once we get that, that's the long signal. And we're going to start rallying out of this thing. Okay, there's the higher low already. Right? So it's starting to hold itself up over here, and looking like there's a potential for a pretty strong breakout for copper. Remember, that when it does this thing is even more brutal than gold. When it wants to run, it just goes. So, two levels that I'm looking at currently. Well, I thought I just drew them. Where the hell did I put them? I think maybe I put them on the 5 as a mistake. Yeah, I did. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, level number 1. Should we get over here? And otherwise, very pretty looking demand over here. Okay, so you could see what they were. This one is this thing, right? And this thing over here is all this BS, this, and this. One of these things is going to hold price up. Right now, it's just flagging sideways. You can see it. It maybe pops down into here. Actually, we can measure it out. It's a flag. Looks like it would probably bring us only into the first level of the breakdown here, right? This is our staff right into the flag, and then we break down at the bottom of that. That looks like, yeah, the first level. Over here as the potential for the entry. But, you know, doesn't mean the second one. Doesn't mean it's going to hold. It just means that that's the measure. So we'll look for a long either in this area or in the area underneath us, and then we're aiming up through the top on copper. Let's go look at the target someplace up there. 60 is still in a downtrend, but the pullback in the higher high would give us actually an uptrend, right? Because we're talking about not buying it here, but rather after it pushes back, gives us a pivot over here, and then gets through here, right? It's going to sort of give us an uptrend. So this level should not hold. This level should not hold either. It's looking like pretty crappy. It didn't make a new low. Right? I would say, yeah, target is somewhere up here, 286 plus. So really nice looking long on copper. It's really nice setups this week, I'll tell you. Finally, interesting, some good action. Let's go look at soy, because it didn't behave very nicely this week. Okay, so soy, right? Take a look-see, and we started to get the push off the bottom. It was one move up so far. We got this nice-looking hammer candle, and the actual continual move above at one point during the week, and then just collapsed. All right, we got up, I think it was Monday. I was talking about this long into this level, if you remember last week in the webinar, right into the daily level up there for the longs, because it was clear air up there. And sure enough, right on Monday, the thing just broke out, hit right into the zone, and then it just hung out there for a day or so, and now pull back. So when we look at this on the daily chart, okay, this is actually a very healthy move for this beginning of the swing long trade, okay, because this is the low. Trend is down over here. And this is really a rally-based rally. There's no real pivot in here until this point right here is the pivot down. Now we could see there was a little bit of selling pressure in here. I was getting excited. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's no question about this move down. There's definitely sellers here, and there was definitely buyers here. So right here we have an actual strong, real strong pivot, and we're pushing down over here. Any higher low, which I believe is probably going to get a test of this demand, give us the higher low. That's our swing low, because that's the higher low on the weekly chart. So we're waiting for this thing to end its little pullback over here, and as long as it creates me a new higher low someplace over here, I'm in. I'm in for the long haul at this one, because that's the move we were waiting for. Go back to the weekly chart for a minute. It didn't quite get up to 9, but it got damn close to 9, right? So we may get a little more, basing up there when we get back up into the 920 area. But if I already get a higher low over here someplace, we should be able to get through this zone and then off to the boom into the air that I've been waiting for I don't know how many weeks already. I'm talking about that. But this is the pivot on the daily. So some kind of hold over here will get us into the trade. The problem is that on the way down, we're creating all kinds of supply zones. Look at this shit, right? So the long's absolutely not ready. We're still in the air. There's no question we're coming back over here. I think the long is somewhere inside this daily demand zone over here around 845 to 37. So we're going to have to wait for it. I think it actually takes shorts because the trend is still down on the lower time frames into that zone. Take a look at our 60 chart, right? We're coming into this demand zone that, according to what we're saying over here, should hold. We've created actually another supply zone, it looks like, on Friday that I didn't put on my chart yet. We'll do that right now. Drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop, right? Over here, another supply. So we have a while for this to start working. I'm not taking any trade just yet on this thing, but it's starting to set up nicely. Okay, we'll see what happens if we end up getting some kind of higher lows over here somewhere. But until it creates the higher low, we don't want the trade. We're just going to leave Soy alone. But when it does, we're going to have to get into this. So I'll send out the message, the tweet, whatever, if it happens this week. We're looking for a swing long. Okay, Soy. When you catch some of these greens at the turn like that on a swing trade, you could sit on this thing for like 2 months and it just keeps going. So there's a nice looking demand zone we're coming into over here on the 15. I don't know yet what the story is, but after that there's a whole bunch of shit over here, right? Looks like a little give me a second. Let me put this trend line in the right place. Maybe it looks like over here. Come on. There we go. So yeah, looks like there's some resistance in this area. We're going to get through. Looks probably, and there's a bunch of air somewhere over here. Looks like to be the demand zone that we're probably looking for. It's in this thing someplace. Let's move over and take a look at it. Yeah, okay. I think it's in this thing. It looks like right over here. There might be another zone that I didn't draw. Coming in right around that 830 something or other. Breakout area. Right there. Oh yeah, holy shit. That's huge. There's a little gap over here, right at 830. So 31 to 28, right? That's the level of the prior high is behind us. And then we bang, 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 and then this explosive move. Look at this. Woo, baby. Okay, so that's the one I think we should be getting to that's going to hold. I would say that's probably where the entry is going to end up being. We'll wait for it, obviously, but that's what we're looking at over here. Someplace back here from this chance into this swing long side. Okay, so patience. It's not here yet. Just laying it out there. All right, there's some more supply down here, which I'm not going to bother drawing right now. Okay, cool. All right, that's our story. We'll look at around the bonds, and we'll wrap up the Sunday session. Okay. So on the bonds, we get a little, pausing candle over here. It did make a new low, so I'm not really calling it a Harami. And then inside this one currently is a Harami. It's a bearish Harami though, right? So let's see what happens with the bonds. On the daily, we're just flagging over here. It's a bull flag off the lows. Looks like there's a lot of air up here. I might want to back test to the supply zone that's up here. From the 240 perspective, I think that's probably what's going on over here. Okay, we hit the supply zone a couple of times, and we come back into this demand that was here, pushed up, and then we're holding the level over here. You can see it, right? We're getting like a double bottom. I think we're going to end up through here, and it looks like 140 is probably the target for this little back test over here to the daily, base rally off the lows. I would say we're looking probably for a long at this point. There's a lot of air up here. Can we catch this somewhere down here and try to ride it up in there? Being that the markets are going to sell off, we should see the price of bonds start to rise a little bit. People start buying bonds to get their money out of this collapsing market. And looking at this over here sort of is telling me, there's the pullback. There's levels of supply up here have sort of been pierced a couple of times and holding the lows right now. So as long as we hold this 137, so this will be a double bottom. That's the middle of the double bottom. That's the origin. But this is really not fresh anymore. And then there's all this air. So being the big move I'm looking for in the market, I would say the target for the bond is probably up here at some point this week. So there's no entry just yet because it's just flagging around. But if it starts to, hit this level and then create a higher low, I would tell you that that's probably a good spot to get long somewhere around the 138 after we clear out this little middle. We hit the middle, pause a little bit, and then start looking at 140 on a long for the bonds. That's probably something that I might be interested in trading as the markets are starting to collapse a little bit. All right, so again, the trigger is not here, the entry is not here, but just path that we're looking for. I think that's probably what we're going to see. So some really beautiful setups this week. I'm sorry that I'm not feeling up to it to take a live session tonight, but feel free to just send me an email if you have a question about anything I said. Otherwise, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Trade safe, trade smart. All the best. See you later. Bye.